Welcome to the DLJonesBooks show. I just did my review of the Godzilla vs. Kong movie. If you haven't watched it yet, go ahead and check that out. But before that, I did like a little video where I was talking about which one of those monsters I was rooting for. Was I Team Godzilla or was I Team Kong? Now, in that video, there was a few things that I got wrong. And what I'm going to talk about are a few of those things. So after the intro, I'll be talking about 5 things I got wrong about the Godzilla vs. Kong movie and 1 thing that I got right, almost. But we will get right in on that right after the intro. Welcome to the DL Jones Book Show. I'm your host, DL Jones, and we're going to get in on the things that I got wrong on my little preview when I was trying to talk about when, like I said in that video, I was Team Kong. If you've seen the movie, you know that, maybe my prediction for who was going to win the fight may not have turned out to be how I expected it to be, but not looking at that part of it, not looking at my prediction of who I thought was going to win the battle and everything, what I was going to look at was the things that I talked about up until that I got wrong. There was a few things that I got wrong when I was making videos, up till the time that movie was released. A few of those things I knew right after I finished recording the video. I was like, you know what, I think I was wrong about that. Went and did some verification and found out that I was. But I'm going to talk about those things. If you haven't seen the movie yet, there will be spoilers. There will be spoilers in this video for the Godzilla vs. Kong movie. So go check that movie out first if you don't want to be spoiled. But I'm warning you now that there will be spoilers. All right, so the first thing I got wrong, the first thing I said, this was in that video, my Team Kong versus Team Godzilla video, the one where I'm asking which team were you on, which of course I was on Team Kong. But this is what I said in that video. How it would be if he fought Godzilla. Because while Godzilla has a few more tricks up his sleeve than a Tyrannosaurus Rex, he is basically a similar type of creature or monster. He's like a tall lizard, and pretty much his weapons are biting. And I can't really remember Godzilla really biting too many people. All right, so that was the first thing I got wrong, biting. When I made that video, I was thinking about the things that Godzilla did, and it's like in my mind at that time, it seems like I couldn't remember any of the tactics that he used when he had his fights, other than, using his atomic breath, stuff like that. So it kind of completely slipped my mind about the biting thing. I was like, yeah, he got the big mouth. He kind of reminds you of like a dinosaur or a big Tyrannosaurus Rex or something like that. But I was like, I couldn't remember him doing any biting. That isn't something that he uses. But as soon as I finished recording the video, I thought back and I remembered, you know what? He does bite. In the 2014 Godzilla movie, there was a scene where he was fighting these flying monsters. I think they was called Mutos or something like that. I forgot what they were called. But he was fighting these flying monsters with wings. And I specifically remember him biting down on this monster's wing. Like he caught the monster as he was flying and kind of just clamped down on his wing, chomped down, probably broke all the bones in his wing. And then not only did he bite down on that monster's wing, he slung his head, slung his head and slung the wing all over the side of the building, and the wing was out of, and the particular monster that he was fighting was out of commission for a few minutes. And then when it came back, I don't believe he flew anymore. I think he was just, on the ground because he couldn't fly anymore after that. So yeah, so I was wrong about the biting thing. Godzilla does indeed bite. In the Godzilla versus Kong movie, he did, I can't remember, I think he did bite King Kong at some point during one of their battles, if he didn't bite him, he made an attempt to bite him, but, that was a tool, that was a tactic that, is open to Godzilla, that you just looking at the type of creature it is, you would think that he would bite. And for some reason, when I created that video, I was wrong about that. I thought that was something that he didn't do, that he didn't use, he didn't bite. I thought that was something that wasn't a tool in his arsenal of battle tactics, but I was wrong about that. He does bite, I just forgot about it. And after doing a little bit of reading, I think he got like a pretty strong bite at that. So it's not only does he do bite, but he has a pretty strong bite, which makes it clearly a good tactic for when he fight monsters and stuff like that, or when he was fighting Kong. But yeah, that's the thing. That's the number one thing I got wrong. So the next thing I got wrong kind of adds on to this. Watch this clip from that video, and I'll tell you what I'm talking about. And he got the little arms, so it's not like he's going to be throwing punches or nothing like that. He just got like those little small useless arms, sort of like a Tyrannosaurus Rex. Again, something I was completely wrong about. For some reason in my mind, I kind of pictured Godzilla as having little tiny useless arms. Now, I don't know if he did and they changed it for this movie or what, but in the Godzilla versus Kong movie, Godzilla's arms were long enough. He did take swipes at Kong, and at one point he scratched Kong up real good. He just clawed him up real good, clawed his chest up real good, but his arms were not tiny and useless like I thought they were. They were regular arms. He took swipes at Kong. He grabbed Kong. He used his arms just like a regular monster that has arms and hands would do in a fight. That was something else I got wrong. I'm not sure if this is something that I've been wrong about all along, and my memory was just kind of messed up when I was trying to remember, previous Godzilla movies, and they made the changes just so the fight between him and Kong would be able to allow him to utilize swipes and punches and swings and stuff. Or maybe I'm just misremembering it, and his arms has always been used in his fights. I just don't remember it. But whether I remember it or not, it was something I was wrong about. And in the Godzilla vs. Kong movie that came out, about a week or so ago, he clearly used his arms in that fight. He actually clawed Kong up pretty good, in that battle. So that was the second thing that I said in that video that I was completely wrong about. Godzilla's little arms aren't really as little as I was seeming to remember them, when I made that video. So that's the item number 2 that I got wrong. The next thing on this video kind of, is along the same lines. A lot of the things I got wrong that I'm talking about here today kind of have to do with their battles. When I was comparing them to each other, Godzilla versus Kong, I was comparing a lot of things I said about Godzilla that I thought were false or were things that weren't a factor. Some of those things were the things that I got wrong. So in this next clip, I'm going to talk about the next section of things that I got, of the next, thing that I got wrong. Check this clip out and you'll see what I'm talking about. Godzilla's biggest weapon is his breathing fire, the fire breath or the radiation breath or whatever type of breath that is. That's his main weapon for the most part, whereas when you look at King Kong is a gorilla. He pretty much beat people up with his fist, toss people around, slam them, and he's really agile and he can jump around and he's super strong and stuff like that. So he just got more tools. When they get to start fighting each other, he just got more tools. The only difference is that Godzilla has the one tool that may trump all of King Kong's tool, and that's the fire breathing. All right, so of course, if you've seen the movie, that whole thing is completely wrong, especially looking at my first 2 items. Like at that time, I was thinking that the only thing Godzilla really had that King Kong had to worry about is his fire breathing. I felt like his atomic breath was the only thing that King Kong had to worry about. And a lot, because of the other things I said, the fact that I thought at the time Godzilla doesn't bite people, and I thought his arms was too small to be useful. And and I mentioned if you go back in that video, I mentioned his tail, but I didn't really dwell on it because I was thinking the same thing. I was thinking that it was something else that doesn't matter. But in this fight, come to find out, I'm completely wrong on that. Godzilla had plenty of tools. The 2 things that I mentioned already that I found out that I was wrong about. His bite. Of course, his bite has been used in previous movies when he's fighting monsters, and he tried to use it on King Kong. I think he did bite King Kong at one time during that fight. His arms, of course, like I said, he clawed Kong up. He used his arms, he boxed him and punched him and took swipes at him. There was even a point which brings to another tool he had. There was even a point that he grabbed Kong and then went deep in the ocean, which was another tool he had. They were fighting out in the ocean, and being that Godzilla is a seafaring creature, he kind of lives in the ocean, he swims in the ocean. He was able to pull Kong underwater and hold him underwater, knowing that Kong couldn't hold his breath as long as he could, and that almost drowned Kong. So Godzilla had a lot more tools than I gave him credit for in that video. It wasn't just his fire breathing. It was a lot more tools. The fire breathing, even though he did use it a lot in this fight, in this movie, it wasn't like the main tool. It wasn't like the thing that pushed him over the edge in their battle. But yeah, I was completely wrong about that, saying that Godzilla only had basically one tool. He has plenty of tools. He is he actually has a lot of tools. He got tools for almost every situation. One thing I don't think I was wrong about is that he does kind of lumber around. Like in that video, I said that Godzilla kind of like does the slow walk through the town. He does do that. I can't think, in this movie, he didn't do anything super fast, Everything he did was kind of like a slow walk, a slow trot to wherever he was going. Maybe when he was swimming, he swam pretty fast. But when he was on land, he kind of just lumbered around. But other than that, he had a lot of tools. That was something else I was wrong about. But yeah, he had a lot of tools. I was wrong about that. That was the third thing that I was wrong about. So the next thing I was wrong about kind of piggybacks on this. It's like the opposite side of this. Check out this video where I talk about it, and then I'll elaborate on it right after we get reminded of what I said before. The other wrong thing that I said before. King Kong, if I was to like bet on this, like if it was an MMA fight, and you got King Kong and Godzilla, I feel like King Kong got too many tools. Godzilla has one super strong tool, but I believe that King Kong can get around that, and once he get around that, he got too many tools to lose, All right, so almost the same thing, but it's on the reverse side, looking at it from Kong's perspective. Like when I said that, I was thinking that, Godzilla, at that time, I was thinking that the only thing Godzilla had that Kong had to fear was his atomic breath. And I kind of looked at it like King Kong had a lot of tools as far as his agility, his strength, being able to jump around. I felt like that was enough to where he would be able to avoid the atomic breath, and it would take the atomic breath out of the equation. And once he does that, then Godzilla wouldn't have anything to worry about. And, I was right on one point. King Kong did have he was able to dodge the atomic breath. I mean, Godzilla used that atomic breath a lot. He he burned down the whole town using that breath. He did catch Kong with it, I think once or twice, but for the most part, Kong was just swinging on buildings like monkey bars, just completely avoiding it. And then once he got that axe, he used the axe to block it. So yeah, like I thought, he was able to, for the most part, avoid the atomic breath and take it out of equation. But the thing that I didn't expect was for Godzilla to use it as much. I kind of always looked at the atomic breath, in the past, he's only used it sparingly. So I kind of looked at the atomic breath as something sort of like any other action. Like if he uses it too much, he will exert himself too much. He will use it all up. He will have to recuperate. And I think that probably is the case in every other movie. Just in this particular movie, they kind of went overboard with it. He just was using it all willy-nilly. He didn't care. It was like it was an unlimited supply of that attack, and Kong was able to get away from it, but I was wrong about it. He was able to get away from it, and while he did have all of the tools I said, it still wasn't too much for Godzilla. Godzilla still won at the end of the battle. So I was wrong about that. Kong, while he does have a lot of tools, he didn't have too many tools. It wasn't like a shoo-in for him to win because he had so many tools that Godzilla couldn't get past it once his one tool at the time I thought was his one only useful tool was exerted. That never came into play. I was wrong about that. It was fun watching Kong, jump around the city avoiding it. It was fun watching him use the axe to block it. But it wasn't a situation where once he was able to get away from the atomic breath, it was all over. It wasn't like that at all. I was wrong about that. That was the fourth thing that I was wrong about. So now the next thing I was wrong about, now this one is not necessarily about, the abilities that they have, but you know what? I'll just let you listen to what I said and then we'll talk about that, right when we get back. But yeah, when I think about this movie, I'm pretty sure it's not going to be a one-sided fight. They got to do something to make it interesting. All right, I was completely wrong about this. As far as the fight with Godzilla and Kong, it was pretty much a one-sided fight. Godzilla pretty much beat Kong. There was pretty much, if you broke it down, depending on how you look at it, there was 3 rounds. There was the rounds in the water. Godzilla won that. Then there was the round when he first got his axe. He won it, but he had a hard-fought battle to win that one round. Some people don't even consider that a round. They kind of consider that the first part of the second battle, which Godzilla pretty much wiped the floor with him, and for the most part, almost killed him. And yeah, for the most part, it was kind of a one-sided battle. Godzilla came in and pretty much just owned everything. Owned Kong, and Kong tried his best. Kong hung with him in some spots, and Kong got the upper hand in some spots, but for the most part, it was pretty much a one-sided battle, and Godzilla pretty much was the winner of that one-sided battle. So that was the 5th thing I was wrong about. Now, the next thing I got, this is the thing that I said that I was right about, that I said something that I got right. When I said it, I had no idea that it was going to be something that would come up again, but it did come up again, and I was right about it. Well, not quite, but I'll let you listen to what I said, and then I'll talk about, how I was right about it and how I feel like not quite, so check this out. King Kong got shocked with lightning, and that lightning somehow made him stronger, which is something I've never seen seen or heard talked about in any other type of King Kong movie, unless I'm missing something. And it makes me wonder if that's going to be something that comes into play in this movie. In that old school movie, King Kong got stronger when he got shocked by lightning. It's like it powered him. Will that come into play in this movie? Will they come up with some kind of way to give him an electric shock so that he can get stronger? Okay, so what I was talking about in that clip, I was talking about the first time that Kong and Godzilla met on screen back in the old school movie. I think this one was actually called Kong versus Godzilla and not Godzilla versus Kong like the one that just came out recently. Well, in that movie, Godzilla was pretty much winning, and then there was a point where King Kong got struck by lightning, and when he got struck by lightning, it gave him more power. It made him stronger, and that movie is the only time I've ever seen something like that happen. I believe that particular thing was created just for that movie. I don't think that it was a Kong specific thing that he just gets more powerful if he gets shocked by lightning. I think that was only for that movie, and that was the only time we've ever seen it. But the thing that I got right about that was that I kind of speculated that maybe they was going to incorporate something like that in this new movie. I figured that they was going to kind of play some kind of lightning, maybe bring that back, do like a callback to when it happened in that old school movie into the new movie. And it did in a way. Now, like I said, Godzilla almost killed Kong. They was looking at him. They was thinking he was about to die. And the way they kind of got him back into the fight was they shocked him. They kind of used that spaceship, landed the spaceship on his chest and kind of used that spaceship as a defibrillator to send, electricity through his chest to jumpstart his heart again to get him back going. And it put him back in the fight. It brought him back to life, and it put him back in the fight. It didn't give him no extra power or anything. It just brought him back to life. So that's why I say it was kind of funny that they brought the electricity shock thing back into this movie, sort of like a callback to the old movie, but it didn't exactly do the same thing as the old movie did. It just brought him back to life. It just kept him from dying. It restarted his heart. It didn't give him extra power or make him stronger or anything. He was still, once he was brought back to life and was back up and fighting again, he was still the Kong that he was before. He was just now, brought back to life. He was rejuvenated, and able to continue to fight. But that's the last thing I had on the list. That was the thing that I got right, which was pretty interesting, even though the way they did it in the movie was kind of clunky and clumsy, but it was still pretty interesting that they brought that same electricity shock thing back in this movie, the way it was kind of made up in the first time Kong fought Godzilla. But yeah, that was it. That was 5 things I got wrong, up till, coming up to this movie in my videos previous to the movie, to the review. And the one thing that I got right, almost, So, but there you have it. If you haven't checked out my review of the movie yet, make sure you go and check it out. If you haven't seen the movie yet, what are you waiting for? Why you even watch this video to this point and haven't watched the movie yet? Go watch it. It's on HBO Max. It's I would say, like I said in my last video, I didn't love it, but I liked it. It was fun. Too many humans, but yeah, go check that out. And thank you for watching this video. I'll see you next time. Congratulations, you made it to the end of the video. While you're here, why don't you check out that video right there, or maybe that one right there. And while you're at it, go ahead and click that little picture of my image there and subscribe to my channel.